Hello, my dear global family. So nice to meet you at Daily Inspiration Meeting. We are reading Messiah's Uncommon Words that inspire people to finish Heavenly Kingdom building by 2027 air core around the world. As we find out in previous videos, the Heavenly Kingdom already is built 11th year and now just supposed to finish peace building by 2027. It will help you as we meet every day to have many miracles and join online or just watching, subscribe and share. More about the meeting is below. And let's go the quotes. True olive trees. We read in the Bible in the book of Genesis about the tree of life and tree of knowledge and good and evil that grew in the Garden of Eden. These two trees symbolize the perfect father and mother. Originally, the human ancestors of Eve, perfect and have nothing to do with the fall, were to have been the roots of humankind, having grown from the roots of from those roots, all people were destined to live in the kingdom of heaven on earth. After death, they would have passed to the kingdom of heaven in heaven and live it there eternally. Yeah, so good. It was yesterday. Let's go the next chapter. Lord of the Second Advent and the embodiment of the Holy Spirit, God's only begotten Son and daughter. God's hope for Adam and Eve was that they would grow, reach perfection, and form a true family. This is what He originally intended at the time of creation. God created Adam and Eve, only begotten Son, and Eve as His only begotten daughter. With absolute love, He invested everything in them, and in them He placed all His hopes. However, they fell. So in their place, God sent Jesus as his only begotten Son. According to the order in which he had created Adam and Eve, God planned to restore Adam first and then to restore Eve through Adam. Hence, first God sent Jesus as the second Adam to take the place of the first Adam, and then Jesus was supposed to find the original second Eve and join with her, becoming husband and wife. Had they succeed in this, they would have been the true parents, the good first ancestors of humanity. Jesus' greatest teaching is that God is his father and that he is God's only begotten son. The expression only begotten son indicates that he occupied the first love of God the Father. It means he stood in the position to receive that love. It is because Jesus stood in the position to proclaim, I am God's only begotten Son, that God has to make Christianity a worldwide religion. The term only begotten Son emphasizes God's love. The only begotten Son is the one who is connected to the fullness of God's first love for individual. In the Garden of Eden, Adam was the only begotten son, and Eve was the only begotten daughter, singing together a song of spring. Brother, you are special to me, and sister, you are so beautiful. They should have grown to maturity and blossomed in springtime of their lives. At that point, what would God have done? When they were fully in bloom, emitting their uniqueness fragrance, God will have joined them together. That is, he would have held a beautiful wedding for them. And then Adam and Eve would have realized God's supreme ideal of creation. But before this, God's only begotten son and only begotten daughter first need time to grow, and they were fully mature. Jesus called himself God's only begotten Son. The only begotten Son needs the only begotten daughter. Jesus was to embark on the path to save the world, but he could not do it alone. He needed to establish his family as the foundation. Jesus' purpose is claiming to be God's only begotten Son was to unite the world and reign over it. Yet before he could do so, he first had to form a family of his own. However, he could not do death in his lifetime. Therefore, in order for the Messiah to save humankind on earth, he must form a model family for others to emulate. Jesus needed to have a family before he could try to save Israel. Jesus was God's only begotten Son. I'm sure that if Jesus' wedding has taken place, God would have been its officiator. The greatest purpose of God's providence of salvation is to build the family that He can love. For this purpose, Jesus, God's only begotten Son, and especially prepared woman, God's only begotten daughter, were to grow in God's love while attending Him as their Father, and then receive His blessing at their marriage. In this way, they were to establish the foundation to become the true ancestor of humankind. All of this was lost and must be restored. The title God's only begotten Son was finally fulfilled after Jesus came on earth. For the first time since Adam and Eve fallen, failed and his human history was lost to Satan, God's only Son, born of his lineage, lived on earth. This was Jesus, the man who received God's love. Yet, even though Jesus emerged as God's only begotten Son, the only begotten daughter did not appear. The emergence of God's perfected only begotten Son after 4,000 years of the history of salvation was as if God has created Adam again. In the Garden of Eden, God created Eve, modeling her after Adam. He made her based on the same principle and blueprint he employed when creating Adam, so that she could be his partner. When it states in the Bible that the woman was made from Adam Yerib, it means that God created her with the essence of Adam. That is why perfected the Adam, God's only begotten Son, can recover Eve, the one who has been lost to this day. In Jesus, God found the Adam who could establish his direct lineage of true love, but he was not yet able to find Eve. In order to find Eve, fallen human history had to be rectified within a family and a nation, and had to be engrafted in with that family. Preparation for this began with Jacob, from whom emerged the 12 tribes of Israel, based on the faith of the chosen people. Their descendants expanded the scope of God's victory in the world. Over the course of 2,000 years, they formed the nation of Israel and established Judaism. Both of which were prepared for the coming of Jesus. Jesus called fallen human beings to become God's sons and daughters. But what was most remarkable was that he proclaimed himself God's only begotten Son. In a world where humanity had been paying indemnity continually over thousands of years of history, this concept, God's only begotten Son, was a sensation. What Jesus had to do next was to change human lineage by reversing the positions of Cain and Abel between himself and Judaism, and between himself and the nation of Israel. However, he was not able to do that. Hence, although recovered the title of God's only begotten Son, he was not able to meet God's only begotten daughter. That woman had been prepared, but it was not possible for Jesus to meet her without a tribal level foundation. Beginning from Jesus' family, links connecting to the individual to the family and the tribe had to be established so that the lineage of humankind eventually could be changed. 4,000 years after the first human ancestors, God's only begotten Son in all of heaven and earth was born. This was blessed news. Before that, people had no way to connect with the bond of God centered on true love. This has been the cause of bitter sorrow in people's hearts. Now God's only begotten Son has appeared on earth. He has come as an intermediary for humankind to dissolve that bitter sorrow. He had not appeared in he had not appeared, it would have been a serious matter. There can be no greater blessing than his coming. Therefore, all humankind and all of heaven and earth must be on his side, even the Creator. Anyone who blocks his way will come to ruin, while anyone who welcomes him will prosper. The appearance of the only begotten Son is a joyful day for all humanity. God sends him first because history has been led by man. Once the only begotten Son arrives, the only begotten daughter then must come. God existed as the vertical parent, centering on true love. The vertical is single line. When it meets a horizontal line, it creates a 90-degree angle where the two lines meet. Man is positioned on a line at a 90-degree angle to the vertical. Woman is likewise positioned at the 90-degree angle, and to the point of where man and woman meet is that same angle. There cannot be two different angles. The only begotten Son is the first man in human history to receive God's love at the 90-degree angle. Someone must stand in with him as God's only begotten daughter. The Messiah who comes at the only begotten Son must find the only begotten daughter. Finding her is not a casual matter, since God created Eve from the body of Adam. When the Messiah came into the world, he must find his Eve. He is the one who must recover Eve, because Eve was taken by Satan. Thus, at this returning Jesus, as God's only begotten Son, must receive God's only begotten daughter and establish a way for a man and woman to meet at the 90-degree angle. Otherwise, the fundamental problems in heaven and on earth will never be solved. God has dual characteristics, and he can dwell only where the son and daughter are one. Since the fall of Adam and Eve, God has not just waited for them children whom he lost to return to his on their own. He has sought the path to free them from Satan's accusation. Can you fathom how miserable God must have been? Can you even imagine his situation in the world where Satan played the king? He endured pain and suffering beyond description so that Jesus Christ could be born free from Satan's accusations. Finally, Jesus came. If the people of Israel had only united with Jesus, God's only begotten Son, they could have reached beyond Rome and out of the world. Then Jesus could have became the true parent instead, because Judaism and the people of Israel were unable to fulfill their responsibility. Jesus departed with the promise that he will return. Tragically, although after 4,000 years God had found and established his only begotten Son, he could not similarly establish his only begotten daughter at that time. Nevertheless, since the only begotten Son existed, the only begotten daughter must also exist. The providence led by Jesus and the Holy Spirit was for this purpose. We learned from the divine principle that whatever the central person or central nation fail to fulfill their responsibility, God finds another representative to complete the task. Thus, when God was unable to send his only begotten daughter to Israel to accomplish on account of its not fulfilling its responsibility, God raised his only begotten daughter elsewhere. Since God is the owner of love in the human world, God must have his family, which centers on his love living on earth. That family lives in God's original homeland, and it expands to a tribe, people, nation, and world of the original homeland. And that is how the kingdom of heaven will finally unfold on earth. All humanity longs for the original homeland, which is with its citizens in the original perfect spiritual state. Gods too long for this. There heaven and earth will meet in harmony. Everything in the universe will rejoice in happiness. God will dance, and the whole creation will dance together with Him in such original homeland, a place that all human beings would welcome. Had the emerging earth, the world we live in would not be filled with pain and grief. Had Adam and Eve been a son and daughter who centered on God, namely the God only begotten son and daughter, and had they became totally one with each other and established a family in that original world, their descendants in that lineage all would have been united in mind and body. Jesus came to earth in order to transform the world into the king of a kingdom or of peace on the foundation of the nation of Israel. Even if he had attempted to accomplish that by exercising overwhelming power and authority, he would have been unable to do so without first having established his own family. The ideal world, the earthly kingdom of peace begins with one true family and is established through an assemblage of many true families. Individuals immersed in mind-body conflicts cannot build an ideal family. The reform, even if Jesus had the power to conquer the world, he could not abandon the way of heaven that had called him to raise the family that God desired, even though this brought him to the point of death. As God's only begotten Son, whose mind and body were united, Jesus was to receive God's only begotten daughter, whose mind and body were also united, and together they were to establish that family. Without that family, even if the world had been transformed, it will be lost again in the end. The family is bound together by bloodline. Once a people is bound together in the lineage of God, that people will constitute the one people of God. Jesus' purpose in coming again on earth is to find his bride, woman who is centering on God's love. That woman must represent Christianity, attend the Lord of her bridegroom on the world level stage of Christianity, and marry him. This establishes the realm of love of the bridegroom and bride. It is the beginning of a realm of love that God can finally claim. Okay, this was quotes for today. So powerful quotes. Please comment how these quotes help you today, and subscribe and share to the channel, as this is the message to billions to finish building heavenly kingdom, world of peace by 2027 in every country, every corner of the world. Take care, and see you tomorrow, same time, same place. Bye bye. Yours, Nicolae. For consultation, cooperation, and donation, call, write comments, and contact me in WhatsApp. Below the video is all information. Bye bye.